All right, good morning. Our second presentation is an update from the Regional Transportation Planning Office with Dana Brozig and Rachel Peterson. Good morning.
All right, good morning. Thank you for having us today. We're actually going to all the boards across the community, Mesa County, Grand Junction, Palisade, and Fruita to do this presentation. The Regional Transportation Planning Office is considered regional government, so that's why we think it's important to inform everybody, even though we're all technically Mesa County employees and kind of housed under Mesa County. So just a quick background, because people get confused. The RTPO, we are an umbrella organization. We represent the Grand Valley Transportation Planning Region, Grand Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, and Grand Valley Transit. And I do have a map. So we do the more urban area in the orange, as well as the rural area outside of the kind of urban core. And that's the transportation planning. And those are designations by CDOT. We do have a vision for transportation that you can find in our 2050 regional transportation plan. And I think it's important just to remember we're looking at all modes of transportation, not just vehicles, but also people walking and biking, and also freight and some other things. We don't do a lot with air, so that's kind of the one mode that we don't look at. We have our great GVRTC with Commissioner Davis representing Mesa County on that. And we also have a number of advisory committees. So we have the Transportation Advisory Committee that we meet with about monthly. That's staff from all these organizations. Another one we don't talk a lot about, but I think is really important, is called the Mobile Mesa County Alliance. And this is all actually human service organizations. And so there's just a lot of coordination between nonprofits that we try to do related to transportation, so that there's not that duplication of services, and that we're making sure there's not gaps in transportation. And this helps us inform the human services plan that we update every 5 years, which kind of is a federal requirement that puts that all together. We also have a transportation safety task force that Rachel will be talking more about. We have a great staff. We've grown a lot over the last couple of years as we've got more funding. So just want to give a shout out to them. And we've been doing these annual reports starting 2 years ago, I believe. Rachel's put them together. And it's really just a way to kind of highlight what we do at the office. And this year we added the safety task force annual report. So we'll be talking more about that now. So just a few quick highlights from 2025. Grand Valley Transit celebrated its 25th anniversary. So that was a big celebration. We also completed our maintenance facility, and we adopted our 2050 regional transportation plan. I like these stats a lot because they kind of give a snapshot of the community and transportation. But you can see our annual boardings for Grand Valley Transit was nearly 600,000, and we gave nearly 30,000 paratransit rides. The paratransit rides are for those who are eligible, and it's a door-to-door service getting to doctor's appointments or day programs, that sort of thing. We've also given nearly 40,000 rides to District 51 students. So a lot of students use Grand Valley Transit to get to school, and so it's a really big asset to our community, especially I think for parents who don't have to take their kids to school, and it kind of frees up some space on our roadway system. And that's one of the things we kind of try to look at is like, how are we preserving our roadway system by doing these other kind of modes of transportation as well. Something I thought was interesting is just looking at Amtrak numbers. The ridership for the Grand Junction stop has increased to about 27,000 folks getting on and off at Grand Junction. And then a lot of people don't know, but Bustang actually has 6 buses a day now to Grand Junction, to Denver, from Grand Junction to Denver. So they're kind of spread out throughout the day, but seeing a lot of increase in ridership related to that as well. One thing that's important to note, in 2025, we did add Route 12, a pilot route on North Avenue, and that connects like North Avenue with West Transfer Facility. And kind of an interesting stat is our ridership on the Fruita route actually increased 12% because of that. So our ridership numbers have gone down because it's now in a more efficient way to travel from kind of the mall area to North Avenue, but it has created, I think, more riders because it's easier to get to North Avenue. So that's something that I don't think we really thought would happen in such a great amount so quickly. Here's the busting routes. If folks don't know, we also do have a bus once a day from Grand Junction down to Durango. And busting ridership has grown 21% in fiscal year 25. I think this is important to know because there's a lot of conversations going on right now about the funding of busting, and they're looking at using possibly some MMOF funds, which we receive, like from the ones we receive to fund busting. So I think it's important to know what's going on because it could impact the funding that we receive in our community. As far as our finances, the majority of transit is funded by federal funds. And then, of course, we have the local IGA that's between all the governments for the local part. And then on the MPO side, about 80% is from federal funds. So we receive a lot of federal funds, which is helpful in today's budget environment. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rachel to talk about the Transportation Safety Task Force.
Christina, so the Mesa County Regional Transportation Safety Task Force, or Task Force for short, was created in January of 2025. Can you go to the next slide? So it was created as an implementation of our Mesa County Safety Action Plan to really reduce the number of fatalities and serious injuries, and just kind of working collectively. So we work collaboratively with a whole bunch of different partners, and I think that's one of our greatest strengths here in Mesa County is how well our partners work together. So that includes state and local government, first responders, hospitals, college education, as well as our D51 group, and then a local nonprofit as well. The major highlights of 2025, when we first met in January last year, we decided that we were all of our partners were stretched a little thin and we needed dedicated staff to focus on safety in our community. So we received a grant and hired our safety program manager, Tara Flaherty. We also have worked together with our stakeholders to collaborate on a statewide presentation to talk about how good our collaboration is in Mesa County and how other communities across Colorado can replicate what we have. And then our local law enforcement partners have had successes with their surge operations, which happens once a month. And then this one just had the cool pictures. So in April of 2025, we had our Cycle Safety Fest, which was bringing together bicycle education and motorcycle education. We had that out at the fairgrounds and hope to bring it forward in 2026 as well. But the reason this group really exists is because we're seeing a significant trends here with crashes. Our total number of crashes are plateaued, or Mesa, as we like to say here. We see about 22 to 23,000 a year. But the focus of this group is really those people who are losing their lives on our roadways and those who are losing their quality of life on our roadways. So our friends with Colorado State Patrol, they actually fortunately saw a decrease in the number of deaths in their jurisdiction, but those in the urban areas saw a significant increase of the numbers who were losing their lives in their jurisdiction. So that's just an important thing to note for our community here. Mesa County, actually, when you look at the communities with 100,000 population or greater, we are the fourth highest in the state of Colorado for the number of fatalities that we have. And then the city of Grand Junction is, if you look at the cities with 50,000 or more in population, we are actually the third highest in the state of Colorado. So those are definitely numbers that we're trying to get a lot lower on the list. And I think something important to note with crashes that we see in Mesa County is even though infrastructure plays a vital role in reducing or increasing the amount of safety, but a lot of what we're seeing on our roadways is behavior types of decisions that are impacting these serious and fatal injury crashes. So impairment was a factor in 24% of our fatal and serious injury crashes. Speeding was a factor in 31%. 24% of the fatal and serious injury crashes were involving a driver who was under the age of 25, so our young drivers. And then 97% of our fatal and serious pedestrian and bicycle crashes did occur in our urban areas. So that was just something that was really interesting with our data. And then 35% of motorcycle crashes resulted in a fatality or serious injury.
I have a question. So it seems to me that if it's an urban area and these are speeding, looks like a big part of it. Do you guys have data that you're pulling into this that is the police, the local police force, and how many deputies they have per resident? I just think that that's an important part of this conversation. I don't know if that's part of this study, but I'm going to pull your study and get that information. And I think that that's a really big part of it because I'm wondering what the cities that this is taking place in, what their local police force is doing locally for speeding. I mean, there's an expectation from a citizen's point of view that that's what police are doing and helping drop down those speeds. Just recently, this last week, I saw a lot more speed traps locally in the city. So I know that we might be shifting things here locally, but I think it's really important to get some of that data and compare it to, it seemed like Pueblo was the highest, and then Weld County and Douglas County was at 6%. So I'm just wondering if that would be a good data point to insert into this.
I know I'm part of the Citizens Police Academy with GJPD, and I know that the chief did speak to them being definitely understaffed with the number of officers. And I know that I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I do know that even the number of traffic specific officers is also lower than where they would like it to be. I can't speak to the rest of the police departments, but I have heard that is something.
I'm just wondering if there's a trend here too with the way that culturally we're looking at police officers too. I know that there's a lot of reform that's taken place over decades where it used to be you'd have a beat cop and they'd be in that neighborhood and they wouldn't necessarily be patrolling in their cars. And that was probably way back when, but that has definitely shifted. There's been a lot of trends in how we are being present in our communities. I know the county is a different animal. We're not necessarily in an urban setting except for Clifton. But I think that there's just some correlation to some of this stuff that I think is relevant. So I'm going to do some more digging. Thank you, guys.
That'd be great.
And back to your point, I know that, we talk about the speed factor, but as I come into downtown Grand Junction from, going back decades or growing up, you've got people that are riding bicycles in the wrong direction. They're riding them on sidewalks and transitioning onto the roadway. That's not the way you're supposed to bicycle.
I think with the next slide, I think that really is like a good transition point, actually. So I think something that we're working hard through our initiative here in Mesa County is recognizing how individual decisions are going to impact the culture of safety. So something, while infrastructure and enforcement and all those other pieces are definitely a big component of safety, but we also want to make sure that we're looking at a culture of safety. And there's kind of three pieces of this culture of safety that I think I really want to recognize, which is safety is a shared responsibility. So even though you might think that it's everyone else making the wrong choices and stuff, you also play a role. So just ensuring that you recognize that you play a role, and when you get on the phone while driving or whatever that might be, that it's not just everybody else, that we can also make personal choices to increase safety in our community. You can also get involved. So that would be getting educated about which way you should be biking down the road, or just getting involved with local laws, and just being aware of what changes have come through. And then spreading the word. So if you're in the car with somebody and they, are starting to take a text or whatever, like, hey, can I take that text for you? Or, hey, you're not wearing your seatbelt. Like, would you mind just buckling up? So just kind of being a champion of safety in your own world. And then the 2026 look ahead, something that we just wanted to point out real quick was this crash data dashboard that was included in the Daily Sentinel on Saturday. And this is a resource to anybody right now, and there's going to be more information about it, but you can dive deep into the data of crashes that you're seeing in Mesa County. You can look at the whole county. You can look just by jurisdiction. You can look at different modes, different behaviors. So there's a lot of different ways that you can slice and dice the data. And that way we're all kind of talking about traffic safety, and we're on the kind of the same page with data there. We also plan to do a lot of outreach with schools. We just did the Mesa County Safety Fair. We're going to be doing a safety gaps analysis just to kind of dive deeper into what different groups in our community are doing and making sure we're not duplicating efforts. And then I think a couple of weeks ago, I brought to you the high-risk network messaging and outreach study, and then speed feedback signage. So those are kind of our big look aheads this coming year. And then there's just, ways to get involved and to educate yourself. We are partnering with the Crime Stoppers Car Show, and then the Cycle Safety Fest. So this is the first time that we're partnering together, and that will be held on Saturday, April 18th. And then that will be held at the Mesa County Fairgrounds from 10 to 2. Our office has also been involved with Bike Month and is playing a role in planning that. So there's more information on our website there with Bike Month. And then that statewide conference that we presented at this last year, that's actually coming here to Grand Junction. So we were advocating hard for that. So we're happy to bring those folks to Grand Junction to learn more about safety and bring those pieces back to their community. So thank you.
So that's everything we have. Happy to answer any questions or look into other information.
My daughter came home from the safety fair. She had a field trip this last week and she had a bag full of all this goodies and she pulled out a coloring book from Road and Bridge. And it was so adorable. And I was like, this is amazing. But I can tell she was very excited about the field trip and she learned a lot of information. And it's great that she got to learn about Mesa County, not from her mom. She's like, Mom, is this where you work? I'm like, yes, this is where I work. But thank you for that she really enjoyed it. So, and I always enjoy coming to your guys' events. And I think it's really important for the community to have these kind of conversations in a broader sense. So thanks for all of you guys do.